Gen Z is not ready to tolerate toxic workplaces, and maybe that's a good thing. Gen Z doesn't want to tolerate toxic bosses. They don't want to work 12 hours a day just because their seniors did. They talk about mental well being, boundaries, respect, and work life balance. And very quickly, we label them as too sensitive. But let me ask you something. What if Gen Z is not becoming weaker? What if they are simply refusing to normalize what previous generations accepted? And before you think I am completely taking Gen Z side, I am not. Because there is another side to this conversation. What previous generation tolerated. We need to acknowledge something. Many of us grew up believing that work meant sacrifice. You stayed late, you didn't say no to your boss, you tolerated shouting, you accepted unreasonable workloads, you stayed in jobs you hated because you needed security. And sometimes you were told this is how the real world works. So, yes, previous generations developed incredible resilience. But the question is, did we develop resilience or did we simply learn to tolerate unhealthy environments? There is a difference. What Gen Z is questioning, let's understand. Gen Z is asking questions that earlier generation often didn't ask. Why should I stay late every day if it isn't necessary? Why should my manager insult me? Why should I sacrifice my health for a salary? Why should loyalty mean accepting disrespect? Why should I stay in an organization on simply because I have already spent 10 years there? And frankly, some of these are very valid questions. But Gen Z also has a responsibility. But now, let's be fair. Not every difficult situation is toxic. Not every demanding boss is toxic. Not every piece of feedback is harassment. And not every uncomfortable task is a violation of your boundaries. Work is supposed to challenge you. You will sometimes have deadlines. You will sometimes have difficult colleagues. You will sometimes have to stay back because something genuinely needs to be completed. You will receive feedback you don't like. And sometimes you have to do things that are not glamorous. That is not toxicity. That is professional life. So, the real skill Gen Z needs is not simply learning to say no, it is learning when to say no and when to step up. And this is where I think organizations need to change too. Because leaders cannot keep saying, we tolerated it, so you should also tolerate it. No, that is not leadership. If a system dependent on fear, humiliation, shouting, or excessive working hours, perhaps the answer is not to teach the next generation to tolerate it. Perhaps the answer is to fix the system. A good workplace should demand accountability without destroying dignity. It should expect commitment without exploiting people. It should provide feedback without humiliation. And it should build resilience without glorifying suffering. And this is particularly important for schools because the students sitting in our classrooms today are going to become tomorrow's teachers, managers, and leaders. And if we teach them only obedience, they may become employees who follow instructions. That's it. But if we teach them accountability, plus communication, plus emotional maturity, plus resilience, plus boundaries, they can become much more stronger professionals. The future workplace is not going to be built by one generation alone. It will be built by different generations learning how to work with each other. So, is Gen Z too sensitive? Sometimes, perhaps. Do they sometimes need more resilience? Absolutely. But are previous generations sometimes guilty of glorifying suffering? Also, yes. Maybe the real conversation is not who is stronger, Gen Z or older generation. Maybe the real question is what should we carry forward from the previous generation and what should we finally leave behind? Tell me honestly in the comments, what did your generation tolerate at work when that you would never accept today?